Hello, and welcome to Cookie's Corner. I'm Cookie Brothers with FCF International. We believe that no one should do ministry alone. February is what's considered the love month. I consider it the love month. It's my birthday month and my anniversary month. My anniversary is actually on Valentine's Day. Now, I know we could get into the history of why we celebrate love and romance in February, but I'd rather we just talk about the love of God. So, have you ever noticed how in some scriptural contexts, the scriptures seem to be competing with one another as you read them? You know, like there's a little tension there in those scriptures. And I have heard it said that all truth is in tension. It's sort of like putting up a tent. You have wires pulling on one side and wires pulling on the other side of that tent, creating a tension, but that tension keeps the tent up. And the Bible has these different things to say, and sometimes in our culture, we like to find the simplest solution or the simplest answer to it. And what we often end up doing is we wind up with like the Thomas Jefferson Bible thought process where he's like, well, miracles, I mean, do they really even happen? So then he just tears all the miraculous things out of the scripture. So then all you're left with really is just the maps. And, you know, that's not good. So now we can't just pick and choose from the idea of love from Scripture based on what culture tells us love should look like. That's not the kind of tension I'm talking about. We can't have imported ideas of cultural beliefs of love. We must have a faithful theology of Bible love. But here's an example of the type of tension that I am referring to, and it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, which is considered the love chapter. And I'm going to read verses 4 through 7. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Now, verse 5 says, does not behave rudely. And verse 6 says, but rejoices in the truth. So let me give you a little example. In the early 90s, I worked for my parents' executive offices under their personal assistant, Rosa Balabini. Rosa was 4'10", from Peru with a lovely Peruvian accent and was a delight to work for. My parents owned multiple companies, including publishing companies, as well as this ministry, FCF International. Now, my husband and I Fred had just moved back from Canada back to Tulsa, and we'd been pastoring there, and we were financially strapped. The cost of an international move, having to find a place to rent because we had moved my in-laws into our home, and 2 small children to raise, it was just a lot. And then I felt a little bit intimidated because my wardrobe was a little lacking for corporate environment. But someone cleaned out their closet and blessed me with gads of clothing, and I can't tell you how excited I was. So one day I wore one of the dresses that I had received, and I just felt so good to have on a new dress. I really felt special. I came into the office. I was putting my things away before morning prayer, and Rosa was standing there in her 4'10" glory looking at me, and she said to me, "Cookie, is that one of your new dresses?" And I said delightedly, "Yes, it is." And she said, "I'm so glad you got so many things. That was a blessing, but don't ever wear that again." Now, some might think she was speaking rudely, but I knew she was telling me the truth, so it was love. I value it to this day. As Christians, because we follow Jesus, we've surrendered our ways of knowing Him. Whatever beliefs or knowings, including love, I've surrendered to Him and His Word. Scripture now informs these things for me, including my opinions and ideas about love. They must be shaped by all Scripture about love. So, in this month of celebration of love, let's be truly surrendered to His ways of love.